On the 15th of April 1989, Liverpool played Nottingham Forest in an FA Cup semi-final at Hillsborough. 96 football fans died on that day. Today, Louise Brooks, whose brother Andrew died, a massive Liverpool fan, tells us her story. I'm delighted to be joined by a woman that's campaigned for justice for 29 years now. I wish it wasn't under these circumstances, and I wish we'd have met in another life. We're very similar. We both like to yak, we both like to chat. We recently marked 29 years since the Hillsborough disaster. Your brother Andy died at Hillsborough. So Andy always stood on the Kop.
Always stood on the Kop, and it was always, so let's say the football pitch is in front of us now, it was always to the right. Exactly where, that's how my dad knew when it all came on the TV that Andrew was where all the crushing was, and my dad knew instantly.
When did you get the first inkling that something wasn't right?
Well, my dad came to pick me up from work at 4 o'clock. As soon as I got out of work, my dad said, "Come on, hurry up." He said, "There's trouble at Hillsborough." And I said, "What's Hillsborough?" I didn't really believe that Andrew, at the time, you know, was in any trouble.
We're in mid-afternoon.
Yeah.
It's playing out on television.
Live, yeah.
And, like I say, the difference between then and now, and again, as a football fan, is that I would have been same age as you.
Yeah.
And whether that be in Cannock, where I'm from, just down the road, it would have been on in the televisions, in Radio Rentals television store,
Yeah.
or getting back home,
Yeah.
is that you're aware of something bad is happening.
Well, everybody who knew us, I mean, don't forget, we didn't have mobile phones in those days. Landline was ringing off the hook, basically. I answered the phone, and it was Julie. My brother went with two brothers, Steve and John, and then with another two lads, Mark, Spike, and a guy called Pete. And it was Julie, John and Steve's sister, and she went, "Are you Lou?" She said, "It's Julie." She said, "John's just phoned and said Dexy's OK," because Andrew's nickname was Dexy after Dexy's Midnight Runners. "But it's pandemonium, and Dexy can't get to her phone, so they've asked me to pass the message on."
So was that pure relief for you, your dad, your mum? He's safe, Andrew's safe.
Walked in the lounge, told my mum and dad. We all hugged each other, and my dad said, "Thank the Lord for that." 10 minutes later, the phone rang again. So I go to answer the phone again, and it was John. And he said, "Are you Lou?" And I said, "All right." He said, "Dexy's missing." And I went, "You what?" I said, "Well, Julie's just phoned me. He's with you." She went, "No, he's missing, we can't find him. But don't worry, because he could be helping someone, he could be in shock walking the streets, you know, don't worry." So I had to go back into the lounge, and I had to tell them, and my dad then was like, and it was like my dad's face, and I saw a look. Oh, sorry, I'm going to cry.
No, come on, you're all right. Come on.
Sorry, I just get upset over my dad. I saw the look on my dad's face, and my dad's face was... Because my dad knew, you see, and I really believe that when I went in and told him that he was OK, I think my dad, oh God, well, I was obviously wrong, and then it was my dad's face, and I saw my dad, and my dad said, right, and then my brother's best friend, one of my brother's best friends, Rob, said to me, phoned up and said, "We're coming round." And then we left then. We left Bromsgrove at 8 o'clock. Mum said, "I'm going to Sheffield, I've got to find him." And we drove up to Sheffield.
So you leave Bromsgrove to go to Sheffield, which would have been at least a 2.5-hour drive, I'd imagine, maybe more, depending.
We got there at 10 o'clock, and we went to a petrol station, and we said, you know, "Where do we need to go for Hillsborough?" And they said, "Oh, you need to go to the hospital." And we said, "Well, where?" "Oh, try the Northern General first." And I remember we walked up this corridor. It was such a long, long corridor. And we got to the end of these tables with people, and they asked us to give identification and describe Andrew, and we did. And they go, "No, got nobody here. Try the Alumshire, or there's a boys' club." We ended up going to the boys' club. The only way I can describe that place is hell on earth, literally hell on earth. There was this room, there were other people in there, like families, I imagine survivors. And every so often, this police officer would stand on a chair and go, anybody recognise this jumper? Anybody recognise these trainers? Anybody recognise this scarf? And my mum wouldn't look. Well, you didn't want to look because you didn't want it to be your loved one, so you were too scared to look anyway. 1 o'clock, my dad went to Hillsborough. When he got to Hillsborough, he gave Andrew's name and description, and they said, right, go in, there's boards with all people on it. And the police officer said, I want you to go along the board, don't rush, take your time, because I can assure you, Mr. Brooks, your son isn't going to look like anything you last remembered him to look like. So take your time. So they went through the board, couldn't find Andy. So as I got to the end of the board, he went, he's not there. And my dad went, thank God for that, he's not on here. So that Rob went over and said, no, he's not on there, blah, blah, blah. And he went, go back again and go slower. So my dad went back again, nothing. He went, he's not there, my son isn't there. Just do it one more time, go back again. And my dad said there were people on that board, you couldn't work out whether they were female or male. They were unrecognisable. And so they went back the third time, still nothing. And then about 6 steps away, there was a desk in a corner and there was another policeman sat. And this police officer had gone through the board with my dad, went over, about 6 foot steps to this and go, oh yeah, he was identified at 5 to 11. They made my dad go through that board 3 times. Andrew was one of the most photographed people that day. He was on virtually every bit of footage, every photo.
How did you feel when you knew?
I was just stood there and I go, he's not dead, he's not dead. Andrew wouldn't die on me, you know. He's my big brother, he's not going to die on me. When Andrew died, I was angry with Andrew for years. But why didn't you survive, Andrew? Oh, well, I know why, because Andrew being Andrew, he'd have gone, oh, after you go through the gate first, you get rescued first. So I always blamed Andrew. Why did, and I don't mean this against survivors, but if they survived, why didn't Andrew survive?
What did the families of the 96 all do to come together? Why? And what was the aim?
Well, we knew that what was said about them was lies. We knew.
What was said about them?
Well,
Just give...
They were drunk, they were ticketless, and they were fighting, and they'd kicked down a gate. Well, the gate was a sliding gate, what you can't kick down anyway.
But what was that 26, 27-year period like for you and the other families? Was it just, we've got to go for however long it goes for? And what is the end game? What is the hope?
We always said we were never giving up. And we were never giving up. We knew they didn't die accidentally. We knew that the truth wasn't told. We knew that. And we just fought and fought and fought. And I've got to say about the Hillsborough families, don't forget we're 96 different families from all different backgrounds.
And not just from Liverpool, from Midland, there's people from all over the place.
Well, let's just make this clear, Stan. Out of the 96 who died, 41 of them were not from Liverpool and were not from Merseyside. Hillsborough is a national disaster. Back in those days, there was no social media. I had to move to Liverpool to be part of the campaign because living down here, unless it was on the national news, you didn't know nothing about what was going on.
How much of a difference has the social media age made?
Social media's made a big difference, and I'll tell you another thing as well. Hillsborough would never happen again now with social media. Hillsborough didn't just take my brother, it took my parents. The Brooks family died. It wasn't just Andrew who died, the old Brooks family died that day. and it's ruined so many people's lives, and I can't get across to people how it affects the survivors, you know, us families. And because Andrew was a very fair person, a very honest person, and very law-abiding, you know, I have to do it for Andrew. I have to.
And it says there, unlawfully killed.
And that's what we've all fought for. That's what we've all fought for 26 years.
Show us the freedom of the city of Liverpool.
That's his medal. He'd be so proud of that.
Having gone through what you've gone through, why would that woman go through 29 years of campaigning, losing her parents, losing her brother, advocate football fans in 2018 standing ever again?
Because standing did not kill Air 96, end of. If I really believe that standing killed my brother and the other 95, I would be the first one saying absolutely no way. Common sense tells you standing did not kill Air 96. And I'll put this out there, if standing kills, you tell me why people don't get crushed to death every year at Glastonbury, people don't get crushed at concerts when they stand up, and why is there still old-fashioned terracing at all rugby league games? You stand at rugby. I'm not just doing it for me, I'm doing it for Andrew as well, because he was so passionate about standing. And I will do everything in my power to make sure every football fan who wants to stand is able to stand.
Because of the conversations and discussions you've had with some other families that say never, 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 would Liverpool Football Club ever go there again?
I think they'll be the last ones to do it, but I think they will have to do it in the end. When every other football club does it, they will have to do it. And I just hope that they can put emotion aside, look at the facts, use your common sense, and see that standing did not kill anybody.
Louise Brooks, thank you so much for joining me on the Stan Collymore Show. Give me a big hug.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Let's take you to Glasgow and a stadium we know as Paradise. The Spirit of Shankly Supporters Club from Liverpool went to Celtic Park to see how safe standing works. We sent sports journalist Liam O'Hare to look in depth.
Liam O'Hare here for the Stan Collymore Show. Celtic are playing Ross County today, but Ross County aren't the only visitors. Also families from Hillsborough and from the Liverpool fan supporters group, the Spirit of Shankly, are here today to see how the standing section at Celtic Park works. You get 3,000 fans in the rail seating, obviously very poignant with Hillsborough fans and the history of Hillsborough in 1989 when 96 fans lost their lives.
I think for us it's to understand a bit better what rail seating is. You know, it's something that's being proposed for fans who stand in seated areas currently, about whether it's an alternative, and Celtic have introduced that. It's very sensitive because this is, you know, people's lived experiences. This isn't like, you know, a hypothetical for lots of people. This is real life. And the Lord Justice Taylor report that introduced all-seater stadia was as a consequence of Hillsborough. So, you know, for a long time, that's been the document that's defined Hillsborough. So in recent years, I think there's been a growing conversation around rail seating, but it's been, you know, it's a journey for some people, and a long one and a difficult one, but it's great to see. You know, I genuinely am pleased that people felt comfortable and able to to come and share this experience with us and talk about their views and feelings, and it's, you know, hopefully it's helped some people.
And what is the kind of relevance with Celtic as well? Obviously, we know Celtic and Liverpool come from both working class cities, similar clubs in many senses, and Celtic were also, I believe, the first team to play Liverpool after Hillsborough as well. Is there a special resonance with Celtic and Liverpool?
There's a very strong bond between ourselves and Celtic. They've been great to us as fans. You know, some people are here who came up, you know, and presented banners and stuff like that alongside with Celtic fans. So I think there's a closeness there, you know, and I think when we as fans look at it, we think, you know, of someone who has rail seat section, it's clear we can look at this and say, right, this is someone who's maybe a bit like us, or who might support like us. So it's, you know, it's good to see.
Celtic fans believe that politics is intrinsically linked to sport, and they weren't going to listen to any footballing authorities who say that you can't have any political displays in football. When Celtic fans showed great support for Palestine against Hapoel, it was just one sign of the footballing links and also the political links of Celtic Football Club. Celtic fans, firstly, don't take heed to being told what to do by footballing authorities, especially when it comes to showing support for a cause that they believe is so important.
My name's David Hughes. My father, Eric Hughes, died at Hillsborough. We've been looking at coming up here to look at the rail, the safe standing section, because fans and plenty of clubs in England want brought into their grounds. It looks a lot better than the actual seats, to be honest, where we are. It seems a lot safer. We've spoke to the safety stewards and the police in charge who are saying it's easier to maintain and easier to manage. Where I'm standing now, you can only get one person fitted in here. You'd have about 3 or 4 people all surrounding you. You'd have big barriers in front of you. Primarily in this section, on the old terraces, you'd get swung forward until the crush barrier would stop you. So it seems a lot safer. It's just a great idea, I think.
Is there still a debate going on amongst Liverpool fans, amongst Hillsborough families in particular, about the benefits of this?
Yeah, there's a massive debate. I think people need to see it for themselves so they can make a judgment on it. But there's obviously, it's a sensitive issue with a lot of families. People don't want it to come back, and you can totally understand why. Some people went to a match and they didn't come back, which is totally wrong. But this is 30 years later nearly now, and obviously the improvements are here to be seen.
Safe standing for a reason, do you know what I mean? It's not too crowded, everybody's got their own space. There's no crushing, there isn't any of that kind of stuff. And it's just when you score, everybody just jumps up together and stuff like that. There's nothing. I think it's amazing, it's brilliant.
I work at the back of the section. The atmosphere it brings to like Champions League nights and even league games, it's just brilliant.
Looks electric, like the atmosphere seems brilliant.
Are you going to be down the front giving it?
Well, hopefully.
Brilliant.
Name's Kenny. I've come up from Liverpool today.
And you're from Hillsborough survivors?
Yes, there's 30 of us come to travel up this morning just to see this new rail standing. To see it would be a good alternative, and what I've seen, I'm impressed, and I think, to be honest with you, I think it's the future. There's not many people want to stand up at the game. I think, oh, you should have the choice. The ones who don't want to sit, this is ideal, and it increases the atmosphere of the game, but that isn't the most important thing. Safety is the most important thing, and it's safer than the system we have now. I think everyone who's come on our coach today, and some of them are sceptical about, they've all decided that this is the future for what we want. Any fan who would come and see this, they would want it. The big thing is and you've got to respect the families, and I think if the families even come and had a look at it, they would say, do you know what, this is safer than the model we have now, which is the plastic seats and people stood up behind them. This is safer than that.
What do you make of it now? Stadium's full. How's it feel?
Sounds good, doesn't it?
It's loud. Everyone seems to be enjoying themselves. Doesn't feel, lots of space. It's really good. It's really good.
There's a sense, even before the game there, that there's lots of people keen to, make an atmosphere and get behind the team, which, is lots of the stuff we see at Anfield, really. It's really good. No, I'm looking forward to seeing what it's like during the game.
And there's a few years dotted about here, is there? 6 or 7?
Yeah, there's some up the back as well, there's some in the seats, so...
Struggling to get tickets so for this section?
Yeah, it's popular, isn't it? There's clearly a big demand, so no, it's good to see.
I think Spirit of Shankly, backed by 88%, bringing this forward at Anfield at some point. And I think if you've got Liverpool fans up here talking about it, saying that it's actually a positive and something they want to see, then I think it's only a matter of time before you see fans right across Britain welcoming this and really seeing the benefits of safe standing. Yes, for atmosphere, yes, for the match day experience, but also for safety. What this visit up today to Glasgow could lead to is a real sea change across British football, that we could see a return almost 30 years after Hillsborough to safe standing in British football once again.
Since our filming at Celtic, the movement advocating safe standing is finding traction in the UK, with a petition gaining 50,000 signatures in 3 days asking for a parliamentary debate on the matter. West Bromwich Albion recently had a proposal to implement safe standing rejected by the government, as British authorities refused to entertain the idea in principle. Sports Minister Tracy Crouch has said there are no plans to change the all-seater policy at English football stadiums. The World Cup is fast approaching as some of the top nations on the planet gather in Russia for football's greatest tournament. Here on the Stan Collymore Show, we'll take a look at each group before the big event kicks off in Moscow on the 14th of June, as the hosts take on Saudi Arabia in the opening match in Group A. Both teams are joined by Uruguay and Egypt as Barcelona's Luis Suarez and Liverpool superstar Mohamed Salah attempt to plunder the goals at Russia 2018. The Russians feature in their 10th finals, but you have to go all the way back to 1966 for their best finish when they reached the last 4 in England. Hopes will be pinned on striker Fyodor Smolov as the Krasnodar number 10 looks to fire his side into the next round. However, Sbornaya have experienced difficult times on the football pitch in recent years and reside 63rd in FIFA's world ranking. With a population of 144 million cheering on the boys, Stanislav Cherchesov's team will have an army of fans providing the home nation with the energy they need to prevail. Uruguay and Suarez will add glamour and flair to Group A as the two-time world champions hope to sail through qualification after finishing second to Brazil in South American qualification. La Celeste usually punch well above their weight. They have a small but passionate following as a nation with a population of 3.5 million. That's just 1/3 of the amount of people in Moscow itself. The Uruguayans are clear favourites to top the group, but Egypt could offer them a credible threat after an amazing season from Mo Salah in the English Premier League. The Liverpool player has taken English football by storm as he promises to be one of the breakout stars when the World Cup kicks off. The attacker turns 26 the day after the tournament begins, and he could celebrate his birthday in style as the Pharaohs open up their campaign against Luis Suarez and co. Saudi Arabia make up the numbers in this group, but the Green Falcons earn their 5th appearance at a World Cup finals. Former Spain striker Juan Antonio Pizzi is the man in charge for the team from the Middle East, but with the opposition at a high level, the Falcons are not expected to progress.